Hello and namaste everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into this new series that we are presenting called 8 Steps to Enlightenment, using yoga as a framework and practice to realize what enlightenment is all about. So we are going to explore many things about enlightenment. I know it's a very complicated topic. In fact, the enlightenment itself is not complicated. It's just the talk about enlightenment. When we think about enlightenment, when we hear about enlightenment, we all do think that it's probably a complex process. And many people, of course, attribute that to spirituality or the spiritual path. So we will demystify all those aspects of enlightenment, and we will go through a beautiful journey to understand what enlightenment is, how yoga can help in the process of enlightenment, what are the steps to get to enlightenment, what are the challenges that one faces in the enlightenment process, what is the science of enlightenment. That's very important, especially living in a modern world that is dictated by science. We will try to bring scientific understanding to enlightenment as well. And then, of course, in this process, we're going to go deeper to know ourselves, the nature of this world, the nature of this universe. Where do we stand? Who are we? What is our purpose? There are many things that do cross our minds as we make this journey called enlightenment. So be ready for the roller coaster ride. Well, it's not a roller coaster ride. It's going to be a fun, smooth sailing journey where you will realize that enlightenment is so close and so near, but yet just because of our own ignorance, just because of the lack of understanding, we think it's very far from us. So what exactly is enlightenment? Now, this reminds me of a story that my guru, my teacher, ancient sage Sunitama always used to tell me in my last 17 years of journey under her as a disciple. There are times, I used to wonder about the question of enlightenment, and in those times she used to remind me of this ancient wisdom story. So the story goes like this. There are two ascetics, both really wanting to experience enlightenment, to attain that enlightenment, and both have been practicing for years together. And each of them were obviously sitting separately and doing their own practice, their own sadhana, their own disciplines and regulations on a day-to-day basis. One was sitting under one tree, and then the other person was away somewhere. He was doing his own practice under the tree. Now, while this was going on, there was this ancient saint who was known to have a connection with the divine, who kind of knew about the future, who could connect to the divine and know a lot of things about the nature, about the universe, and about the people. So as this person was walking and looked at these two ascetics, he gets curious, and then he goes to them and says, okay, what are you trying to do here? And then the ascetics both come to him and say, well, we have been here practicing for years and years together. We want to attain enlightenment. And one of them actually seems a little bit frustrated. The other ascetic seems to be quite normal. But when the sage listens to both the ascetics and says, okay, is there something that I can do to help you? So the ascetics, both ascetics, basically ask the same question. They say, we want to know when we are going to get enlightenment. And the sage says, well, you know what, I'm on my way to the divine abode. I'm going to spending some time there, and then I'm going to come back with answers to your question. So the sage leaves, and these two ascetics go back to their practice. And after a few months or years, the sage comes back. And both are obviously very curious about the answers for their questions that they were asked. So the first ascetic comes to the sage and says, okay, did you talk to the divine? Did you talk to the God and find out when I'm going to attain enlightenment. And the sage says, basically, it is going to take the number of years that it's going to take to get enlightenment is going to be the number of leaves on this tree. So you can go and count the number of leaves on this tree, and then, that's the number of years that is going to take for you to attain enlightenment. And this first ascetic gets very frustrated. He's like, oh my God, I've been practicing for such a long time, and you are now telling me that it's going to take, I don't know, thousands of years. Probably there are thousands of leaves on this tree. And he gets very frustrated and irritated, and he just goes away from there. And now the second ascetic also comes and asks the same question. The second ascetic receives the same answer. The sage says, well, it's going to take, the number of years it's going to take for attaining enlightenment is the number of leaves on this tree. And this ascetic starts jumping in joy and happiness, and he's like, oh my goodness, that's all it is. It's just going to be the number of leaves on this tree. And then he gets into that state of joy and bliss, and then the sage leaves, and that very next moment, the leaves on that tree just completely fall off, and the tree is obviously, bare and empty, which means there are no leaves there on the tree, which means the ascetic has already attained enlightenment. Now, the essence of the story is that the first ascetic was focused on the outcome. He was totally focused on thinking that there is an end state where he will be enlightened. Maybe there is a state where he will see like a big aura or a halo around his head, and he's going to get some mystical powers or become something else. Whereas this ascetic, who even though heard that it's going to take many number of years, jumped in joy and ecstasy and bliss. And that is the sign of enlightenment, which means he was already enlightened, but he did not even realize that he was enlightened. So that is the definition of enlightenment. Enlightenment is that constant, continuous state of bliss and joy, that beauty that we all have within, the joy which we all have within. But of course, we are so caught up in life, we are so caught up in many things that we want to achieve in this lifetime, and we go through this roller coaster ride of pain and pleasure, frustration, happiness and sadness, always yearning for the next thing, always desiring for one more thing. And of course, unfortunately, many think that enlightenment is also another thing to attain, another state to achieve, or something that you have to pocket and say that, yes, I am enlightened. In fact, I'll tell you, my dear friends, the one who thinks that he's enlightened is the real fool. Because enlightenment is not a journey. Enlightenment is not a certificate that you get at the end. Enlightenment is not one of those bucket list things that you are like, oh, I'm done with this, and then move on. Enlightenment is a journey of lifetime. It is a moment-to-moment experience of the life in its fullest form. The life that we all have, which we ignore, which we forget, and our focus is constantly on things out there, never paying attention to the preciousness that we are. And unfortunately, the opposite of enlightenment is entanglement. We all live in that state of entanglement. And in that entanglement, of course, what we get is chaos, turmoil, suffocation, frustration, irritation, because we are prisoned. We are prisoned in our thoughts, our emotions, our prejudices, our perceptions, our sensations, our subconscious conditioning. All of these have prisoned us for years and years together, and we go through this roller coaster ride of pain and pleasure. Whereas enlightenment is liberation from that entanglement. Liberation, not something from outside, but those vices, those entanglements that we have accumulated over a period of time within. So enlightenment is to be able to free from those entanglements. Isn't it so simple, my dear friends? In fact, there is also another Tao story, a story of wisdom, where there is this young person, again, someone who really wants to attain enlightenment and experience enlightenment, goes to a monk, and he's been in meditation for many years. So as he goes to the monk, he asks this question, how can I attain enlightenment? And then he says, enlightenment is not something that you attain. And he gives a great analogy. He says, just the way the sun is always there. The sunshine is always there. But a lot of times it is clouded. It is clouded by the very clouds that are formed because of the sunshine. Because of the heat that is generated from the sun, the water evaporates, and that water goes up into the sky, and it covers the very sun which actually created these clouds. So when you clear those clouds, you start to see the sunshine again. So that is exactly what enlightenment is. It is that sunshine, it is that fullest potential that we all have, but unfortunately covered and clouded, not from something outside, but something that we have created from within. And those creations are nothing but the malfunctions of our thought processes, the habits that we have created which are bad, which are self-destructive. These are the things that create that cloud which doesn't allow us to experience that sunshine. So when we remove that cloud, we can start to reveal that sunshine that is already there. Our very nature is that sunshine. Our very nature is that pure positive energy. Our very nature is bliss, which ancient wisdom calls Ananda. That Ananda is our very nature. But unfortunately, we don't realize that inner bliss, and we run after pleasures that are given by the senses. The sensual pleasures is what we mistake for bliss, and we fall into the trap of these five senses. And this trap becomes tightened and tightened over a period of time, and we lose ourselves. We perish in the trap, and we come back into this life cycle over and over and over again, and we go through this pain and pleasure roller coaster ride. So enlightenment starts with knowing yourself first, to understand yourself, to become aware of this precious resource is enlightenment. In fact, I also remember what my guru, ancient Sage Sunita Amma, always used to say. Many people come to her from across the globe to attain enlightenment again. They come to her and say, Amma, we have been practicing this yoga, that meditation, this kriya, that mantra, this tantra, all kinds of techniques, complicated asanas, complicated pranayamas. And they say, Amma, we want to attain enlightenment. And the most fundamental question that Sunita Amma asks is, are you taking care of these precious resources called mind and body? And even that was the question that she asked me when she went to her the first time. She says, Suman, do you give time for yourself to take care of this mind and body? So enlightenment starts from the caring for the self, caring for the greatest tools that we have, which is our mind and which is our body. In fact, this is exactly what the great ancient sage Patanjali has described in those 8 steps, which we call Ashtanga Yoga. That 8 steps to enlightenment starts with the yamas, niyamas, which are the regulations for the mind, the do's and don'ts for the mind. Those are the things that help us purify the mind, which is called Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta is the field of mind. Shuddhi is purification process. Without purification process, it doesn't matter how many asanas that you are able to do, how many complicated postures you are able to do, how many complicated pranayamas or breathing patterns that you practice, how many type of mudras that you practice, how many type of bandhanas that you practice. There are so many techniques in this beautiful yogic world. But unfortunately, Many of us do not realize that all of this have to first start with cleansing and purification of the mind, and which is why the great ancient sage Patanjali starts with yamas and niyamas. We are going to dive into each of these in the next few episodes in these 8 steps, just like 8 steps given by Patanjali. We are going to explore those as well and see how we can make them practical part of our life. Because many think that these are complex scriptures. In fact, they are not complex at all. In fact, the ancient sage Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are so powerful, so potent. Each principle that he describes is it's a textbook of psychology and psychiatry. It is a textbook of you. It is a textbook of knowing ourselves deeply. You know, my dear friends, from childhood we are all so busy trying to get education about things outside. We study social science, we study history, we study geography, we study biology, physics, chemistry, everything about stuff that we see out there. But we are never taught to look inside, or even not even inside, just to pay attention to this life force, this life form itself. We never done that. I haven't done that till I was 33. I was so busy with the life outside, education, career, family, friends, hobbies, and all of these, but never paid attention to that. No wonder today we see severe prevalence of illness both at a physical level and at a mental level. And the root cause of that is we have never taken care, or we have never taken time to care for this precious resources called body and mind. And that is in fact the foundation of yogic process, that yamas, niyamas, and then comes the asana, which is the posture, and then comes the pranayama. Pranayama means prana is the life force. It is not just the breath, it is not just the breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are a way to slowly tap into that prana, that life force, that energy, that subtle vibration that is there in all of us. In fact, this body is nothing but energy. Energy and matter are the same. We know that science agrees with that, right? This physical matter is nothing but a bundle of energy. It's a vibration of energy. So pranayama is to regulate that energy, regulate that life force, which is actually required for every function in our body, for the food to digest, for our blood to circulate, for our brain to function, for our eyes to function, for every organ to function. We need that prana, that life force, that energy. So unless we tap into that subtlest of the subtle life force or source of the energy, no matter how many breathing exercises, how many pranayamas you do, it doesn't make sense. So to tap into that subtle pure vibration is pranayama. And next comes the pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawing the senses or regulating the senses. As we just said earlier, that these senses are the root cause of a lot of pain and pleasure that we go through in our life. We always are drawn to the pleasure and we run away from the pain because the senses always are seeking pleasure. And of course, when I say always, the untrained senses are seeking the pleasure. But when you regulate the senses, there is no problem. Just like the horses which are not trained, which are wild, when there is no control over the horses, obviously you don't know where the horse is going to go. Now you bring those horses and try to make a chariot with those horses. Imagine these 5 sensors are like these 5 horses, and you have tied those to your chariot, and these horses are wild horses which are not trained. Obviously each horse is going to go whichever way they want, and the outcome is the chariot is going to collapse and damage. And that is what is happening in our lives. These 5 senses, when not trained, when not regulated, are creating damage and destruction to this chariot called this body. So the regulation of senses is pratyahara. We are going to talk about that. And then of course comes the most important things which are very popular today in the world, dharana and dhyana, the concentration of mind. And then the meditation, dhyana, that is the most important aspect of this process. And then ultimately comes the samadhi state. The samadhi state, you can call it a state of enlightenment or an experience of enlightenment. In fact, it is not that you become some kind of mumbo jumbo experience, or it's like some kind of euphoric state. It is actually a state of equanimity. It is a state of equal mindedness. It is a state where you are aware, you are regulating your mind the way you want. It is a state where you are the master and your mind is a tool for you to do great things in life. But unfortunately, we know that in our day-to-day lives, our mind is the master and we are the slaves to that mind. And we all go through so much turmoil and suffering because we do not know how to train the mind or tame that mind. So the ultimate goal of yogic journey, the journey of enlightenment, is really to tame that mind, to tame the senses, and then tame the body. So once you do that, then your life becomes a smooth sail. It's not going to be a roller coaster ride because you know how to regulate these three things. So enlightenment, my dear friends, is to really understand ourselves, to really tap into our true nature, to really understand what the reality is. There is a lot of delusion that we live in. We live in the delusion that we are just this limited body and limited mind. But the reality is that this universe is infinite. So we are part of the universe, which means that we are infinite. We are that infinite potential, but most of the times we are trapped in that inner prison. We are entangled in inner prison and we think that this is it. This 5 foot, 6 foot structure in which this information is moving in the form of mind and thoughts and emotions is what we are. But unfortunately, that is not what we are, my dear friends. We have the ability to transcend beyond this body and the mind, because within this body, within this mind is the observer, the true self that is observing all these things. We will dive into all of those things as well in this 8 episode series. There is that awareness in all of us. The ability to become aware is enlightenment. The ability to become alert is enlightenment. And to be awake is enlightenment. Sunita Amma always says, to be alert, awake and aware is enlightenment. We are going to talk about that as well as we move forward. So the journey from the known to the unknown is enlightenment. Unfortunately, we live our day-to-day life in what we know. Or what we know in this world is this body and mind. That's all we know. But beyond those two, there is unknown. Even if you look at the universe, there is so much unknown out there. But we behave as if we know everything. And that is of course because of the false ego, the false identification that we live in. And we think that we know everything. But there is unknown. The unknown can be experienced only when we tap within. When we experience that silence. When we use that silence as a channel and then explore ourselves, then you will realize that unknown, that unlimited, infinite potential, eternal, vast, unlimited, which is beyond the comprehension of these senses. You know, my dear friends, enlightenment is actually beyond the 5 senses. It is not something that I can tell you and you can realize it. It has to be experienced from within. It is not something that I can show you and that you can perceive with your eyes or you can hear with your ears. It is not something that you can touch and experience. It is not something that you can taste. It is not something that you can smell. Unfortunately, this is what we do in our day-to-day life. Our life is driven by these 5 senses which know the things that they know already. Right? Because it's a conditioning process. You have smelled the rose, you know the smell of the rose. It's stored in your subconscious, it's stored in your memory. And then you replay that memory and then you say that's the rose. So if you actually start to look at your life, it is nothing but a bundle of memory, We keep replaying the tape over and over and again and again and again, and we keep accumulating these experiences, and we live that life based on the perceptions from these five senses. And these five senses keep dictating our life, and we live in that known world. The world of known is the world created by the senses, whether it is your food, whether it is your smell, whether it is your job, whether it is the information. It is nothing but information, right? It is constant information feed into your mind through these senses. And we think that is the end of life. But unfortunately, there is a vast unknown beyond this. And to tap into that unknown, one has to start experiencing that silence. And that is the very essence of yoga. To bring that mind to the stillness. The very first principle that the ancient sage Patanjali has written, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That itself explains the entire essence of yoga. To bring that mind to that stillness, to stop the fluctuations of that mind is yoga. And my dear friends, I know there are techniques out there. There are so many complex ways of doing this. But what I have found here in Sukshma meditation, which we are going to practice in a moment here, is Sunita Amma tailor-made this for the modern hectic lifestyle. She simplified the essence of this ancient wisdom so that anyone and everyone can access this in a simplest form. And I have been a witness to my own life and many people who have come to her and are able to truly experience the very essence of yoga, the very essence of enlightenment in a moment, in a flash of a moment. Because in Sukshma, in this form of meditation called Sukshma, Sukshma means subtle, micro. The word itself is so powerful. At that subtlest to subtle level is that vibration of energy, that life force. And that can be experienced only when that mind comes to stillness. That joy, that bliss that comes out without any external stimulation, without any kick from your coffee or drinks or food or pleasures that you experience from outside. That inner kick that you get constantly, it is like those springs that are oozing that water constantly. It doesn't matter what the season is, whether it is summer, whether it is winter, whether it is rainy, it doesn't matter. The water keeps oozing from that spring. It is that infinite fountain that is there within, which is always oozing out that bliss. But we have never paid attention to it. So Sukshma helps us to pay attention to that bliss, to experience that inner bliss. And now that inner bliss can be experienced only from the silence. Only through that inner silence can one experience that bliss. So first principle of Yoga Sutras is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Stop that mind, kill that mind, bring it to that state of nothingness, empty the mind. All of this is possible in Sukshma meditation. So, my dear friends, we are going to start our journey into enlightenment with the framework of yoga that we have just talked about, using a form of meditation called Sukshma meditation, brought into light by ancient sage Sunita Amma. And we are going to use some of these practices in this 8 series so that on a moment to moment you can realize how enlightened you are. Are you ready? Okay. So let's sit down comfortably, everyone, please. The first thing that Sunita Amma always teaches whoever comes to her is to bring this subtle smile onto your lips. Have you watched me in the last few minutes from the beginning of this talk? Was there a moment where I was not smiling? If you want, you can play back, go back and check in this video. This smile has imprinted permanently. Not from outside, but from inside. Because the heart is in joy no matter what. My heart is smiling no matter what. Every cell in my body is smiling no matter what. Every thought is releasing that smile energy no matter what. That is enlightenment, my dear friends. The first step is to bring that subtle smile until it becomes permanent. Yes, you may have to fake it initially. Yes, I know we all have so many burdens. We have so many problems, so many challenges in our day-to-day life that put us down, that crush us, that weigh upon so much of burdens on our shoulders, that pull us in so many directions. But yet, when you start to bring this smile, when you start to experience this smile, you will slowly start to see that burdens are going to fade away. You will slowly start to settle within you. So the first step, please bring that subtle smile. You know, for everything in this world we have to pay, right? Nothing is free in this world. But the smile, you don't have to pay anyone. It's yours, no matter what. You can smile anywhere, anytime. You know what? I use this smile every moment of my life. When I'm cooking, when I'm reading, when I'm writing, when I'm working, when I'm sleeping, when I'm bathing, when I'm driving. It is a way to bring attention to yourself. You see, the biggest problem of not being able to experience enlightenment is distraction. The mind which is distracted, running everywhere moment to moment. Either it goes into the past or it jumps into the future, isn't it? I'm sure you know that. I'm sure in the last few minutes of watching this video, you're probably wondering sometimes. Some of my words might have triggered something and your subconscious mind start to go back in time or maybe think about the future. That's the nature of untrained mind. Not a trained mind, my dear friends. People call the mind monkey mind. No. My teacher said, mind is not monkey. Mind is such a beautiful thing. Mind is such a subtle, fragrant thing like a flower. Sensitive, beautiful. But because we have not been taught how to use this mind, how to train this mind, it has become a monkey mind. It has become intoxicated with the vices. So, to tame this mind, the first step is smiling. When you smile, your awareness starts to come to you. You start to becoming aware of yourself. See, my dear friends, meditation doesn't mean that you close your eyes and sit for hours together. Yes, that is part of it. See, I'm speaking to you, but I'm closing my eyes. I'm closing my eyes because my true self, that self is just drawing me within. It is pulling me to come into that stillness, to be experiencing that silence, that inner silence, to experience that nectar that was oozing out of my heart, my throat, the saliva oozing because of that inner bliss. It is that instant, that bliss is enlightenment. That inner joy is enlightenment. That inner fullness is enlightenment. Observation is enlightenment. Awareness is enlightenment. Becoming aware of your breath is enlightenment. Constant, integrated awareness of your breath. Breathe and smile. We all breathe every moment, of course, but we never pay attention. We are not even aware that we breathe. It's such an important thing, but yet we don't pay attention to it. But now you're going to regulate your breath. You're going to become aware of your breath, of your smile, breathing and smiling. BS. Breathe and smile. Now just relax your shoulders. Once you're aware of your breath and smile, just lift and drop. Lift. Take a deep breath. Breathe out and drop your shoulders. You feel your body. You feel your shoulders. Just rounding them, see? Back to front. And then front to back. Like this. And then now, put your fingers on your shoulders. Again, just simple rounding. Breathing and smiling now, anti-clockwise. See, when you're breathing, experience that ocean. Now simple tapping. Tapping your body brings attention to your body, awareness to your body from top to bottom. Tap, 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 tap. Chop, 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 punch, 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 chop, 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 punch, punch, punch. See, like this, punch, releasing all that stress. And then just press your temples, please. Press your right temple. Press your left temple. Press your forehead, releasing any tension from your head. Now put your palms together. Go back to your head. Press the back of your head, releasing any tension. Press the back of your neck. Press your chin, releasing any tension from your jawbones. And then put your fingers like scissors. And just like this, subtle sukshma exercises. You can practice this at your office, at your home, anytime. Just all that you need is a couple of minutes. Simple way to pay attention to this body. And then now give yourself a nice hug. Self-love is enlightenment. Remember, my dear friends. Without self-love, you will not make any progress in enlightenment. Self-love is not self-obsession. Remember this. Self-love is not being selfish. Self-love is respecting yourself. Self-love is to take care of yourself for a few minutes in a day. Self-love is to pamper your inner self, not the senses, not the mind, not the body. You're pampering that inner child. which you have probably forgotten. Maybe you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm very old. No, my dear friends. Your chronological age does not matter. Your inner child, connection with that inner child is what matters. Fall in love with that inner child. That is self-love. That inner voice which is there. Always waiting for you to talk, waiting for you to sing, waiting for you to hug, waiting for you to love. But what are we doing, my dear friends? We are waiting for others to talk to us, waiting for others to sing to us, waiting for others to love us, waiting for others to hug us. No, stop it cold. No need to wait for anyone. You come into this world alone and you go from this world alone. So, work on yourself. Connect with your inner self. Give this promise. Take your names. I'm going to take my name. Suman, I love you. I respect you. I honor you. I'll take care of you. Physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, ethically, divinely, and spiritually. Be honest and truthful, my dear friends. All your attention is on your heart. Going deeper and deeper inside. Repeat that promise in your heart again. How many more times you want. I guarantee you that you will see a shift, transformation. Enjoy that breath and that smile. Enjoy that promise. That's all you have to do. Just keep practicing this for how many ever minutes you want. You can slowly come out and open your eyes whenever you're ready. Observe. 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 You can now go into meditation. You can sit like this. All your attention is on your heart. And relax. Relax to this guided meditation. First step in enlightenment is to develop awareness of yourself. This first meditation will help you to become aware of yourself. In this meditation, we are going to focus on developing simple awareness of yourself. So, comfortably lie down in Shavasana, flat, with your tummy facing the sky. You're lying down comfortably on your back, your arms spread out to the side, and your feet spread out, completely relaxed. You're covering your eyes with a small napkin or a small towel. Cover yourself with a blanket. Now just let go of your body completely. Bring subtle smile onto your lips. Just be aware of that smile. Start to take some deep inhalations and exhalations with audible sounds. As you take in the breath, filling your tummy is going up, 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 and then you're slowly releasing it. Exhalation, slow, relaxed exhalation, and then again, slow, relaxed inhalation, filling your tummy. Listening to that sound of the breath going in, filling in, and going out. The sound of your breath almost feels like the waves of the ocean. Enjoy that sound. Connect to that sound as if you are in front of the ocean, watching these beautiful waves going up and coming down and slowly coming onto the shore and then receding back into the ocean. You're aware of your breath and you're aware of your smile. Simple awareness of your breath and your smile. Breathing in that smile energy. And breathing out any emotional toxins, any stress, any turmoil, any thoughts that are bothering you. Just breathing out. And again, breathing in that smile energy. Smiling no matter what. You're smiling while you're breathing in, and you're smiling while you're breathing out. Simple, subtle smile. And your tummy is rising up and falling down. Just like a balloon, where you're breathing in that air and the balloon is bloating up. And you're emptying that balloon by letting out all that air. As you keep doing this, you will start to notice that your breath starts to deepen and expand. You're observing your breath going deeper and deeper inside, and you're following your breath deeper and deeper inside. Your awareness is following your breath. You're letting go of any thoughts, any distractions at this point. All your attention is on your breath. Going in with your breath, staying with your breath, and going out with your breath. Again, going inside with your breath, into your tummy, letting go of any distractions, any thoughts. No need to fight them. Just observe, let go. Observe, let go. Observe, let go. Observe, let go. Always coming back to your breathing and to your smile. This meditation is breathe and smile meditation, developing simple awareness of your breath and your smile. Whole body is relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. Your mind is calming down. You're smiling for yourself. All your attention is on your breath. If you have saliva oozing out of your mouth, just drink it, swallow it. It's a sign of complete relaxation. All your attention is on your breath and your smile. Enjoying those inner smiles for yourself. Now slowly coming out of that inner journey, you're starting to become aware of your physical body, tip of your fingers, tip of your toes, your shoulders, your neck. Just simple awareness of your body. Moment to moment awareness. Slowly start to move your body gently. Never abuse your body. Never abuse your mind. They are your precious resources. Just like a little baby coming out of sleep, subtle, gentle movements. Slowly turn to your right. Keep your eyes closed. Slowly turn to your right. Keep your eyes closed. Now slowly sit in your comfortable position with your eyes closed. Slowly sit in your comfortable position with your eyes closed. Warm up your palms and put them on your closed eyes like cups, and observe that nothingness, emptiness. Spread your smile into that. One more time. Warm up your palms and put them on your closed eyes like cups. Feel the warmth of your palms. Enjoy those inner smiles. Let every cell in your body receive that smile. Filling yourself with that smile. You can come back to your normal position. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. Continue to carry this awareness of your breath and smile into your day-to-day life, while you're working, while you're studying, while you're cooking, while you're driving. Simple awareness of your breath and smile for instant relaxation. Namaste. Thank you very much.